We are going to begin the fun part, making objects and manipulating them. First thing we're going to do is create one. I personally like to expand my command panel since widescreen monitors are more common. Over here, along this line near the command panel, is a separation line. Holding your mouse there, clicking and dragging to the left will expand it. This is mainly because this blank area will be filled up more, depending on what happens. In the command panel, there are several tabs. These have identifying pictures. If you ever forget, just hold your mouse over one for a second and a hint will pop up. Within the Create tab, there are several categories of objects to create, such as geometry, shapes, lights, cameras, helpers, and systems. We're going to stick to geometry for now. Within geometry is a drop-down list of several different types of geometric objects. We're going to stick to standard primitives for the moment. Each button within this corresponds to a different standard primitive object type. We're going to create a box, so click on a box. You'll see more options show up. There are many ways to create this box. I'm going to name two of these options. One of them is keyboard entry, which is found here. Within this, we can determine the size exactly, and then hit the Create button, and it'll make it exactly where and how big. The other method, which I enjoy, is to just draw the box. In the perspective viewport, on the bottom right here, click from the left side and drag towards the right side, and then release. This defines the length and width of the box for now. However, you are still creating the box as of this moment. If you move your mouse up and down, you'll see the box get taller and shorter. Click and release when you are happy with a height. So now we have a box. If the box doesn't fit in the perspective viewport, you can hit the Zoom Extents button in the lower right hand corner. It's one of my favorite buttons. Or you can just hit the shortcut button Z. Zoom Extends zooms the current viewport to fit the object. To tell which viewport is the current, you can look at the yellow square that highlights the border of the active viewport. To make things easier, we're going to maximize one of our 4 viewports. We can get almost everything done in the perspective view, so we're going to maximize that one. The right bottom most button is called Maximize Viewport Toggle. This can also be achieved using the Alt-W command. Now let's create a second box next to the first. Remember the steps. Click and drag, then release. Once, then click again for the height. Your current tool right now is the Creation tool. If you continue to click around in the viewport, then you'll create a bunch of boxes. Let's not do that. To exit almost any tool, press the Escape key. In our case, we're going to move on to the Selection tool. Moving between tools also exits the current tool that you're in. The Selection tool is found at the top left corner in the toolbar. Clicking on this will exit on our current tool. You can also try the Q button. Using tools in 3ds Max is like using tools in real life. Using two at once is not practical, so let's not do it. 3ds Max is object-oriented. That means that everything in the scene is considered an object. You will decide to select which object or objects will move and rotate. To use the Selection tool, you can just click on which object you want to select. You'll notice a white border around the objects surrounding it. The Selection tool has several different modes. These are displayed in the icon here. You can also cycle between them using the Q button. Be careful which one is selected. They behave very differently from another. So let's select one of our boxes and move it. Let's go with that one. First we select one, then we will switch to the Move tool using this icon at the top. or using the W shortcut key. Drawn in front of the object is what is known as the gizmo. The gizmo is a visual helper that allows you to move the object in any particular direction or all. Different parts of the gizmo will move the object in different directions. We can constrain the movement to a single axis, such as the x-axis, or to only 2 out of the 3 to make it move along a plane, such as the floor, or say along a wall. If you want more precise measurements, you can right-click on almost any tool and get more accurate translation parameters. Rotating is very similar to moving. The tool actually rests next to the Move tool, since it's so similar. You can either click on the tool or use the E shortcut, which is one of my favorite. Rotating uses Euler angles to change yaw, pitch, and roll. The circle that you highlight determines which axis you will rotate around. X is red, Y is green, and Z is blue. A little easier to remember seeing that computers love RGB. X, Y, Z, RGB. This color scheme is constant in most of Max's tools. The outermost ring in the Rotate gizmo will rotate around the view's forward axis. In other words, it's like taking your finger and jamming it into the object from what you see now and spinning it. Scaling is next to the Rotate tool. Scaling has a very strange gizmo that is shaped like a pyramid. This allows you to select all axes and scale the entire object. Selecting a single axis, such as Z, will squish the object. Selecting the entire triangle will create a uniform scale.